Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the launch of our pre-incubation program in collaboration with the Australian Consul General, Chennai. Thank you all for joining us today. We are honored to have here with us Mr. Barry O'Farrell, Australian High Commissioner to India, Mr. KT Ramarao, Honorable Minister for IT, Industries and MAUD, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, Principal Secretary to Government of Telangana, ITNC, and Ms. Sara Kurlu, Australian Consul General, Chennai. We are excited to launch the pre-incubation program under the Direct Aid Grant. This is the second collaboration with the Australian Consul General, Chennai, after the successful completion of the Acceleration Program Community Slate for 5 social enterprises in South India in 2019. To kick off the program, we would now like to invite Ms. Deepthi Raula to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you, Vaishnavi. Good morning, everyone. Honorable Minister, Mr. KT Ramarao. Honorable Minister, Mr. KT Ramarao, Mr. Barry O'Farrell, High Commissioner of Australia to India, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, Principal Secretary to the Government of Telangana, ITNC and Industries and Commerce, Ms. Sara Kurlu, the newest Consul General to Chennai from Australia. Welcome. So, and the entrepreneurs, we would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you for being a part of the launch of UpSurge today. So this is the second program that VHub is running in collaboration with the Australian High Commission in Chennai. And this program is completely funded by the Direct Aid Grant that is very generously given to us by the Australian Consul General in Chennai. I mean, it is a known fact, and world over studies have actually shown that women who develop entrepreneurial skills are better suited to positions of leadership, impact, and also entrepreneurial women are actually able to better align their talents with the business requirements to improve business performance. Women also apply entrepreneurial thinking to company environments and make sure that they become entrepreneurial leaders who also increase business, profits, revenue, and creation of products. Women who think entrepreneurially can become better scientists and also engineers. And future-proofing the job opportunities for women created by women will ensure building sustainable communities across the globe. VHub is truly on such a mission by creating local jobs, adding to the local economy by many women-led enterprises and creating sustainable communities in Telangana by working with over 4,527 women. Women in Tech is also about creating equal space for girls in STEM. So VHub has customized girls in STEM programs which work towards getting more young people excited about science and keeping the curiosity on. We are also extremely thankful to the Australian High Commission in Delhi, the Australian Consulate in Chennai for truly believing in VHub when we even barely started in 2018. VHub was just an idea, and Australia was our first international partner. They actually funded us even before we had a building. So that is a commitment that Australia showed to us, and we are truly thankful for that. And we were honored to receive the support through DAP for the Community Slate program, the first social enterprise accelerator program for women-led started. And we are second time we are receiving this, so that actually shows the commitment of our VHub team as well. So thank you, team. And now coming down to the UpSurge, the objective of this 12-week pre-incubation program is to inculcate the knowledge and idea of entrepreneurship to the participants of the program. The program will enable aspiring entrepreneurs to achieve tangible outcomes and acquire skills that will help them to systematically approach the feasibility of their idea and develop the same into a sustainable prototype. The conclusion of this program will be a pitch day followed by a graduation. And this program has been very carefully curated by the entire team at VHub because one of the biggest barriers we often see is that to have more women in science, it is not just enough to be a woman in science. It needs advocacy, it needs mentorship, and it also needs a collective ecosystem to support women entrepreneurs. And the focus of UpSurge is just that. And with that, I would like to welcome all of you to the kickoff, and we get started. I'd now like to invite Honorable His Excellency Mr. Barry O'Farrell to deliver his address.
Thank you for that. I'm particularly proud to be here today for the reasons that you've already heard, which is that through our Chennai Consul General, we have been supporting this program since 2018. And it's an important program, not just for women in India, but it's an important program for the Australian government. We know that there are 50,000 registered startups roughly across India. 10,000 of those, 10% of those were founded by women, but only 17% attract VC funding. And that needs to change because, as Dr. Kiran Mazumdar-Shaw, India's richest woman I read yesterday, but more importantly an alumni of an Australian university where she studied brewing. Every Australian male's dream, a wife who's studied brewing. But she often says that technology is agnostic about gender. And this is one sector where women should have no barriers. And yet we're seeing that there are barriers. So we're delighted to support this program, and our first program has had some success where Cab Dosti, which sought to provide support for the informal financial sectors, including taxi drivers, has now partnered and been valued at 5 crore rupee. Our second venture is designed to filter ideas earlier, to adapt to potential market opportunities. And the reason that the Australian government is so keen about this, and particularly keen in relation to partnering here in India, is because in Australia we are determined to get more women and girls to go into STEM, into those career paths that traditionally have been dominated by men. This is a goal of the Australian Academy of Science. It's been supported by the Australian government. We have an ambassador for STEM who is working to a 10-year roadmap to ensure that women and girls get every opportunity to pursue careers in this area, which has been traditionally dominated by men. So on behalf of Sarah Curlew, who is our newest member of the team across India, who is the commander of southern India for the Australian government's effort in India, looking after 5 states, including Telangana, I want to thank the Minister, the Secretary and the CEO for their cooperation. And I say to the Minister and to the Principal Secretary that we want to continue to work with you on these types of initiatives that reflect the dual values of both our countries, that reflect the determination of both our national leaders when they met virtually in June to increase cooperation between Australia and India, particularly in relation to science, research and innovation. And we do so because we know that no society, whether in India or Australia, whether in Hyderabad or in Sydney, can ignore the potential that exists within more than half of the population. And that's why we'll always be prepared to stand up and support women to make every occupation their own as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request our Honourable Minister, Mr. KT Ramarao, to deliver his remarks.
Thank you, Deepti. Firstly, I welcome the Honourable Australian High Commissioner, Mr. Barry O'Farrell, to Hyderabad and to Telangana. And also I'd like to welcome Consul General Sarah Curlew, also for the first time, I think, to Hyderabad. Thank you, Jayesh and Deepti for facilitating this conversation here today. One of the most important things, one of the most important initiatives of Government of Telangana after we assumed office about 6.5 years ago was VHub, which was conceptualized about 3 years, I think it was 3 years ago exactly, on International Women's Day, which was day before yesterday. So I'm very proud, very happy with the kind of progress VHub has made over the last 3 years. In fact, VHub has not only been a role model to the rest of the country, VHub also has been a very strong anchor and leader by example to many other states. In fact, I know I was part of 2 conversations, one with Government of Gujarat, another with Government of Kashmir, where VHub also is steering, is kind of directing, is guiding the local women entrepreneurial ecosystem there. With this partnership with Australian government, in fact, as Deepti pointed out, Australia has been a great supporter, the government of Australia has been a great supporter to VHub, even before you really started your journey and you in your infancy, so to speak. Now, the second grant today that is being given out also reinforces not just this partnership, this belief, but also your commitment, Barry, and the Australian government's commitment to improving the entrepreneurial ecosystem in our country, in India. Your point about only 10% of startups being founded by women and only a minuscule percentage of that being funded by venture capital is absolutely right on the money. In fact, it is one area I think my government and other governments also need to constantly work on, need to constantly possibly, if private funding is not coming about, I think public funding is another source that we should potentially explore. In our conversation before we walked in, we were also talking about some superannuation funds and others who potentially could look at, opportunities in a country like India. One of the things I would like to believe could be of interest. I'm not talking necessarily about only the superannuation fund, but also other, crowdsourced or other public-funded models, which could also look at, furthering the cause of entrepreneurship, and more particularly women entrepreneurship in India. It could be a great, great initiative going forward. I would, of course, like to thank you and Sarah and the entire Australian government for your support, for your continued support, in fact, to VHub. And I do hope and I do believe very strongly, not only in supporting the women entrepreneurs here, but like we discussed before, about 10 minutes ago. Another potential opportunity I also believe could be good for the two nations is that we could have some of our women entrepreneurs explore the Australian market and vice versa. We could have the Australian startups also come into India through VHub, and we could see how they could explore the Indian market. So not only in India, if you ask me, the young women who are here, who've been working on brilliant ideas, you should also expand your horizons. It's not just about one market in India. We should potentially look at, since you have Australian government as a partner, you should also look at opportunities in Australia and how we could potentially tap into them. And I'm sure Australian High Commissioner and the Consul General would be happy to welcome you to Australia to explore more, and vice versa. Of course, it's a two-way street. It can't be a one-way kind of a thing. So we would be more than happy to facilitate, through T-Hub, through VHub, for Australian, startups to come into India. And with this program UPsurge, I think a lot of young women would benefit. Once again, I thank the Australian government profusely for your continued support and guidance. And all the other things we discussed, I think we'll save it for later. We will save it for another conversation. But thank you very much, Barry and Sarah, for coming to Hyderabad and Telangana. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. May I now request CG Sarah Kirlew to deliver her remarks.
Thank you very much. And a big thank you to my honourable panel members here. And why should I thank them apart from them giving their time? Because one lesson we know is that girls can't be what they can't see. So women need role models to look up to. Girls who are considering STEM and entrepreneurship need people that they can see have had a successful journey. And that's even more powerful if people in positions of responsibility, like Honourable Minister and Honourable Secretary, have endorsed that journey. So we were very pleased to be one of the first partners of WeHub, to be an ongoing partner, and I thank you all for coming today, and we look forward to continuing the collaboration. I think the idea that we should connect our women entrepreneurs in Australia with our women here today is a wonderful one, and my office and I will definitely take that forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. May I request our Honourable Principal Secretary, Mr. Jayesh Ranjan, to speak.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Deepti. Honourable Minister, His Excellency, the High Commissioner, Her Excellency, CG, participants, attendees, it's a matter of great satisfaction and happiness that the Australian government has reposed their faith in the great work that we have all been doing at VHub. I particularly remember when the Community Slate program was inaugurated. I was present at the inauguration, and I was present at the valedictory also, after about a year or so. when the graduating cohort was ready to present their ideas. And I distinctly remember the huge difference between what they were on the day when they were inducted in the program and in the valedictory ceremony, the confidence, the clarity in their thought, and the kind of gung-ho attitude they displayed was very, very appreciable. And I'm sure all that happened because of the combined efforts of the VHub team and the team from the consulate, which curated such an excellent program. So I do expect that UPsurge also will build on that very positive learning experience. What we have recognized in the last 3 years, after seeing so many women entrepreneurs pass through the portals of VHub, is that it is not that they lack in ideas, but what we need to do for them is to provide proper linkages, give them good opportunities where they can rise further. And as Honorable Minister pointed out, if we expand the opportunities beyond India, if we can also see if their solutions or the products can do well in the Australian market, then that will be a real benefit from this program. I also recall that in the community slate, some very good speakers from Australia had come and they had interacted, including, if I'm not mistaken, someone who was a very senior minister for technology, or
Dr. Sarah Pearson, sir.
yeah,
She was
Sarah
the chief
Pearson, who was the head of innovation in the Australian government. I remember attending her session, and it was really mind-blowing, the kind of ideas and thoughts that she shared with all of us. So if you can continue that and bring more and more illustrious Australian achievers, particularly women achievers, to interface with this cohort, that will really be great. So once again, very grateful for you to support this initiative and look forward to wonderful results from the UPsurge program as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And with that, we come to the end of this session. I'd like to start by saying thank you so much, sir, and also Sarah, and also His Excellency, Mr. High Commissioner, for speaking about creating a startup exchange program between the entrepreneurs at VHub and the Australian startups. We currently do that with Portugal, and we are also exploring avenues with Korea, and we'll be more than happy to actually expand this collaboration further into creating kind of a soft landing hub for Australian startups to India and vice versa.
I do have one thing to say, Barry. Sorry for this inopportune intervention, but you do know that recently the Indian men's team has beaten Australia on your own land. But I do hope, I do hope the women's, I do hope the women's cricket team also does the same thing very soon. So
I think it's
more to women empowerment. Yeah, cheers.
It's time for some applause on that. Thank you, sir. All in good spirit.
I remember the Women's World Cup. What was the result again?
We will not let it happen. I was in the wrong.
Thank you, sir. So we would love to explore the conversations, and with that, we come to the end of it. Thank you so much, sir. No, sir, we are done. Thank you so much. Thank you, Jason. Thank you to everybody.
Prime Minister who's good with words, good line, his competitors on the field, good friends off. One day I'd like to talk to you about my own view that good government requires a strong opposition. And I worry that the nation wants one. Certainly the regions are providing opposition. Division. Yeah. Another time. Another time. Thank you, Tom. Joining us if you're staying home. Will do. And I look forward to coming back and doing some of those things you suggested. So, and we'll work on that. We'll work on your great raft of ideas.
I've just looked forward to hosting you in Australia anytime.
I surely hope so. And I just we look forward to reporting on those ideas.
Yeah, and I think I actually already have some people in mind that we can connect together to do that.
No point meeting. Point is to showcase. Thank you.
Subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Click the bell button and enjoy the latest uploads from our channel.